Good morning, beautiful. Let's get some more work done on you, shall we? What's up, y'all? Welcome back. If you're new here, welcome to the video. Welcome to the channel. If you missed the last video, it was a big one. We got the first start on the car. It runs like a champ. Everything ran great. We did 2 edits on the tune, and it's idling super good. I was just super ecstatic to see that and to hear it run. And after all of the stress and the worry and the concern about like, am I doing this properly? Is it gonna start? Is it gonna run? All of that, we got confirmation. So today we gotta run through and we gotta start the car again. We gotta do some revving between 2,000 and 3,000 RPM for about 20 minutes and some other stuff. There's a brake line showing up we gotta put on. Yeah, just start buttoning things up and get the car ready to do the first drive. So after that revving, we gotta drain the oil, all that kind of good stuff, and then we can just keep moving on. But man, does it feel good to have this thing running again, finally. Oh no, first order of business. Apparently I have another coolant leak. It wasn't doing none of that last night. There was no leaking whatsoever, but apparently it's dripping out now. So there's no more coolant in the funnel either. So it was about up to like right here last night. So it must have, you know, as the engine was cooling and all that stuff, it kind of like sunk it down in there a little bit more. So I'm gonna have to run to the dealership and get another gallon of coolant, which makes 3 going into this thing, and we'll see how much it fills up. I'm sure it's not a lot of space, but yeah, gotta have more coolant. So I guess I'll go do that and we'll jump back when I get that done. Man, I have got tools everywhere, but boom, another gallon of coolant. Let's go ahead and pour this into the little jug and see how much goes in there. But I also gotta figure out what this leak is coming from and what is causing that. So yeah, guess I'll begin investigating. Like maybe two videos ago, I can't remember, it's such a blur here lately. There was a leak I was trying to find back here, and it was the little loop hose that we put on. With the throttle body that we have on here now, it removes those water lines that are on there from OEM. And so I put a loop hose in there, and that clamp was loose, and so it was dripping out of the bottom of that hose. And I just checked that clamp, and it was still, like, I tightened it, but it was still kind of like I could move it just a little bit, so it might not have been tight as it needs to be. Went ahead and tightened it up as tight as I could get it, and so we'll start the car and we'll see if we get more leakage and whatever, and then I should be able to look, because right now it's not leaking. It's not like actively dripping, so I'll have to wait and see, I guess. But yeah, I think that may have gotten that. If that's as easy as it's gonna be, I will take that. Now I will go under the car, and I did have 2 small leaks on the oil side of things. So the oil there was one little leak by, like, on the oil pan. I tightened 2 oil pan bolts. It was a very small leak, so I'm thinking maybe one of those bolts was just like not as tight as it should have been. They were all to spec, but you know, it could be tighter, I guess. So tighten those 2 up, and then there's one little piece on the oil filter housing that had another small little leak. So I'm gonna tighten that piece, and then we should have all the oil leaks fixed. We'll see. Trying to not go to like the worst case scenario and having to remove the oil pan to put new sealant around it. We'll just cross our fingers and see how this goes. I just took the cap off of the funnel here, and I can actually see the coolant. It's like down like at the very top of the cap right here. So it's probably not gonna need a bunch, but I did want obviously more fluid up into here in case it does continue to burp and get more air out of the system. I would like there to be coolant in here sitting, as opposed to having nothing, and then it maybe gets some more air into the system. So no biggie, we'll just pour some more coolant in here. Yeah, you can already see it's like filling up now. And there we go. Make sure we didn't get no more coolant splashed onto the manifold. I have acetone to wipe it down if I have to, but no splashes on there. Very nice, very nice. Okay, so I tightened everything down here. This little brass piece right here was the thing that the oil was dripping out of. And it came back from getting it cleaned up and everything, and it had the PTFE paste on it, so I just assumed it was done, like it was on there, but that thing was wildly loose. I got like 7 or 8 turns out of that thing, but now it's super tight. So, well, not super tight, but you know, it's snug. Hopefully that fixed the leak on that little piece right there. And we tightened up this spot right here was where there was some oil coming out of the oil pan in between these 2 bolts right here, and so I tightened up those 2, and so hopefully we have a good seal on there now, or at least seal enough to where it won't drip out like it was, because it wasn't much. It was like 1 little dot, but enough for me to be, you know, hey, that's an oil leak. So let's start this thing up and see what we got. God, while my laptop sounds like an aircraft taking off, here we go. Oh, it sounds so good. It's like backfiring and stuff now, revving it between 2,000 and 3,000 RPMs. Sorry if it's too loud. The fan's going over here. There's a lot of fumes in here, but man, that sounds good. We got up to operating temperature there. It was about 185 to, it got to 200 and I kind of shut it down, which it was kind of getting close to the time anyway of being 20 minutes. So I did some reading, and I do have a Mishimoto thermostat in there, but the fan was on the radiator, so that's good. And I've seen operating temperatures of between like 185 and like 220, 212. So 200 wasn't too bad, I don't guess. I'm gonna ask Desmond what he thinks about that, but yeah, that was a success as far as the revving goes. We did that for 20 minutes. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and drain the oil and make sure there's no shit in there. Cross our fingers for that. Copper business and all that bullshit. We do still, I see 2 droplets of oil right in the same spot where it was leaking at from the oil pan. So I'm gonna crawl under there, see if that's still leaking. I hope I can like tighten that a little bit more. It's not dripping as much as it was last night, but obviously if it's still leaking like that, I might have to pop that back off of there at some point in time and put new like sealant around it. But yeah, let me look here real fast at the motor and see what we got going on. Oh, there's a little leak, looks like around the fuel pressure gauge. We're dripping gas out of that. We'll fix that, and yeah, that seems to be all I can see. No more coolant leakage, so that must have fixed the coolant leak, and there's no oil from that one spot on the housing. So, all right, well, back to business. Okay, we got the oil drained, and we put the new oil filter onto there, and we got the old oil filter here. We're gonna cut this open, but on the drain plug, we have this Project Kicks drain plug, and it is super, super powerful. I mean, it sucked it out of my hand and went to the oil pan whenever I took it out. But all that was on that was this little bit right here, which to me looks just like normal, like, you know, there's gonna be some shavings. It's a brand new motor, it's brand new everything, so there's gonna be something in there, but yeah, just a little bit of shavings here, and like the oil coming out of the oil pan didn't look like metallic, didn't look flaky. I'm gonna drain this into something else, and then we'll look and see in the bottom of it there to see if I see anything, but so far it's looking really, really good. I don't know how well this is gonna show up with just the light and stuff like that, but the reflection and everything, but I'm not seeing anything of concern. There's just really, really fine metal shavings, lightly metallic, no big like, there's no copper pieces, nothing like that in there. Man, overall, it just looks to me what would be kind of normal stuff for, I mean, brand new, literally everything. So I got the filter cut open. I had to take a screwdriver and just jab around it the whole way around to get it pulled out of there. I couldn't find anything to like cut with it, but we got this thing out and we're just looking through it, and I'm not seeing really anything in any of these little fins that would be like alarming. The only thing I did see was this one over here. Where's it at? Yeah, this guy right here. That little piece right there, that was the only thing that was like, oh hey, look, there's a piece of something in there. But even that is like super thin, and so I'm not sure what that would be or whatever, but there's no copper, nothing like that. Yeah, I mean, that all looks to me like normal break-in stuff. Okay, 5 more quarts into the old motor, and we should be good to go. Well, first oil change is complete. No drippage. Got quite a bit of gas on this towel now though. It's leaking quite a bit, but it's okay. Shit. Okay, so there we have it. First oil change is completed. Let me put this up here a little bit. Ow, finger. First oil change is complete. We did that little start there. We got her up to operating temperature about 170 or so, and I shut it down. The brake line still has not showed up yet, so we're still waiting on that, but I'm gonna tinker around here in the garage a little bit and do some other things while we're waiting on that. But man, does it feel, it's just insane having this thing running, and I can just go in there, turn the key, and it just fires up, and it idles nice. It's just like I said before, to some people, this is probably small potatoes to do it all the time, but for me, this is massive. And so, yeah, just wild, man, just wild. All right, it was a day late, but the new brake line is here. Let's get this thing installed onto the rear of the car and see if we can get it bled. Okay, so I got the line kind of like started and taped together and ran up into there, but we got stuck about, I don't know, quarter of the way. So I am gonna have to drop the tank down again. I'm only gonna loosen up the back part of it so it drops down just a little bit, and just the tank portion. I think I can get it all with just loosening up the tank. So let's give it a whirl. Whew, okay, so new brake line is installed. We got this one right here, and it runs all the way down. Got the little connectors back on there, and we ran it right down where they're all supposed to be. They come together, run down along the bottom of the car, and I have them like preliminarily zip tied. I'm gonna run some other things there, but we ended up not being able to go under, like over the tank. So we went under it. There's a little gap between the tank and the subframe and all that. And so I ran it up and around that way, and it's actually more out of the way and easier to access. So pretty happy with that. And yeah, now we can move on. Before we go and try to bleed the brakes, I'm pretty sure that the coolant system is bled. We had that thing on there for the first like 30 minutes or so runtime with Desmond as he was tuning everything the other night. And then we did the 20-minute rev thing with 2,000 and 3,000 RPMs. He said to bleed the coolant for 50 minutes, and so I think that's right around that time. So I haven't seen any bubbles come out of it in the last little bit. And so, yeah, we'll go ahead and pop this thing off of there and get the radiator cap back on. Boom. Hardly nothing. All right, so I'm out here trying to bleed these brakes, and I just cannot get anything to come out of this passenger side rear end caliper or brake line, even for that matter. I've got the power bleeder on this side pushing pressure, and then I've got a vacuum bleeder on this end, and I've even unhooked the hose just trying to push something through it, and there's just nothing coming out of it. There's no movement in the fluid in the reservoir, and so I don't even know, like at this point, is it in the ABS module? Because it very clearly was not the finishing line's brake lines, because that's a brand new line. He tested it before he sent it out to me. There's no blockages in it. So is the ABS just not pushing it through to this line? But why just this one? Why would it be one brake that's not getting anything to it? I tried to just get this line sent to me and get it taken care of, and just to see, because I didn't have the time to like sort through and like try to figure out everything else. I just thought, let's just change the line. We just had that blockage. Maybe that's what's happening here. But, you know, like Josh said, he's been doing this for like 10 years or more, and he's only seen that blockage one time, and I was the second one. And so the odds of it being a blockage was, I mean, pretty slim, but I just thought, let's just get a new line. We'll try it. Like, I'm running out of time before we go on this trip. And so I just tried to get it here and get it taken care of, but I just don't know what to diagnose with this. I'm gonna check the fuses and all that stuff with the ABS module as well, because when we started the car, the ABS light kind of flashed once. I'm gonna go through, check all those fuses, and then we can just keep trying to diagnose this, because it's just boggling my mind why one brake is not getting fluid to it. Don't know. If any of you guys happen to know or have an idea, feel free to drop a comment down below, because right now I'm at a loss until I do some more searching and digging. Well, the ABS fuse looks good. Nothing really going on with that, it appears. I have narrowed it down to where it just has to be the ABS module. I have been taking off lines, moving things around and all that. So the master cylinder, it works because we're pushing fluid to 3 other lines. Everything is bled except for this one. So master cylinder works. I took off the line from the rear brake line that comes into the ABS module, and there's no fluid coming out of that whatsoever. I have these little tips like this right here. I stuck that into the port where the brake line goes and tried to suck out some fluid out of there. I could get nothing out of that. I got to like 12 PSI on my little hand pump there, and I just could not suck anything out of there. And so that leads me to believe that there is something going on in the ABS module, whether it's a solenoid, I don't really know how they work, but there's something in there that's blocked or locked up or something that is not allowing fluid to get to that port, that specific port, and push fluid to the back of the car. So this brake issue is definitely not the finishing line brake lines, which we have that new line on there, but now that I'm sitting here and we figured it out, it's in the ABS module, didn't really need that line to begin with. We just had that one blockage on that one line, and we could have been good to go there, but I just wanted to have, like I said earlier, I just wanted to have the brake line here to change it out because we're running out of time before we leave on this trip. And I just wanted to have it here so I could check it off the boxes of like, it's definitely not the line and all that. And so yeah, can't thank Josh at Finishing Lines enough for helping me out through all this, being understanding, getting me these new lines out as fast as possible, and just, you know, providing me with knowledge and trying to help me out and trying to help me figure this out. But yeah, just very appreciative of him and all his hard work, and we'll get it figured out. I gotta, you know, we're probably going to have to order another ABS module or find a used one somewhere because new, I looked them up and I'm not even sure if you can get them or not, but they're like $1,800 and that ain't happening. And so, yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll get this thing bled when we get back. And yeah, that's all we can do right now. And with all that being said and done, I'm going to go ahead and end this off here. We got, I mean, all we have left to do really is to fix this brake issue. We can throw on the wheels and we're good to go for the first drive. We're gonna have to wait a little bit for that though. Like I said before, we got this trip thing going on, but once we get back from that, we'll be full speed ahead on this thing, getting the brakes fixed and all that stuff, and then we'll be good to go. And so once again, I really appreciate Josh at Finishing Lines for all his help with all this stuff, getting me all the parts and stuff I need as fast as possible. I can't wait to work with him some more on the truck. We're gonna run these brake lines on that as well. And so that'll be a fully custom job. But yeah, we're just getting started here. You guys might see some stuff pop up from our German excursions, but other than that, thanks for watching. I do appreciate it very much. As always, drop a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.